and welcome to Quietly Talking Movies ASMR channel. My name is Matt, and in today's video I'll be taking you through some of my recent pickups that I have gotten on the 14th of October. This video is a little bit late, mostly because, as I've actually mentioned in my community post, I was going through a little bit of changes when it comes to my setup, so I tried to pick up my microphone again and start recording with a microphone, as well as changing a little bit of, perhaps the way I'm making some of my videos. This is essentially the first of perhaps one of my first and many experiment videos that I'll be making in terms of the setup, essentially, as well as the way I'm talking about them. Right, so I don't want to actually take up too much of your time, because I think I'll be splitting this video into 5. And the reason why I'm actually going to be splitting it into 5 is because I received 5 collector's editions on the 14th of October. First of them was To Catch a Thief, Paramount Collector's Edition of the Alfred Hitchcock's classic. So this is one of them. The other one is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the Warner Brothers Ultimate Collector's Edition of the movie, with a steelbook. I've also received Twister Ultimate Collector's Edition from Universal, with a steelbook as well. And last but not least, I also, not last, but okay, one before last, is Paramount Scares line of The Ring 4K Ultra HD with a steelbook, and it's a 4K for the first time. Actually, it's a 4K for the first time for all of those releases. And last but not least, and it's actually going to be the subject of today's video, is the newest Criterion Collection release. And this is the edition that I'll be actually taking you through today. So, yeah, I'll be mentioning those videos and mentioning those films, as well as unboxing them in a separate video. So for this video, I'm only going to be taking you through this release from Criterion for the sake of time. This is one of the newest Criterion releases that, as I mentioned, came out on the 14th of October. And it's a dual 2-film collection. And this is a collection of 2 films produced by Val Lewton. First of them is I Walked with a Zombie, directed by Jacques Tourneur, and The Seventh Victim, directed by Mark Robson. These 2 films actually came out for the first time in 4K, both in the UK as well as on the United States almost at the same time. And they're coming in 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray combo edition, as well as a standard Blu-ray. Both films actually came out in 1943, and they, as I've mentioned, have been produced by Val Lewton, who, as I've learned watching those films and watching special features, was the head of RKO Pictures B-movie horror unit. So in RKO, then they had the A movie list, so basically people like Orson Welles. But they also have the B movie lineup. And Val Lewton was the producer of the horror films that was coming out of that company. And the two films were directed, as I mentioned, by Jacques Tourneur and Mark Robson, respectively. Right, this is not the first time that either Val Lewton or Jacques Tourneur have been actually introduced to Criterion Collection. As it happens, they've already showed up as in respect to the release of Cat People, also directed by Jacques Tourneur and produced by Val Lewton. The film was released in 1942, so just a year before I Walked with a Zombie, and the spine number for that one was 833. There you go. Okay, so I've already tried to make this video before. That's why this edition is already sort of unwrapped. It's going to be almost like a shortened unboxing experience. Very nice. Right, so there you go. That's the main artwork, main cover. So we're getting, as I said, two films in one, and we've got a split artwork for I Walked with a Zombie on the left and The Seventh Victim on the right. So both actually feature very nice artwork, to be honest. A little bit on the brown side, but nonetheless very intriguing, to say the least. And we also have the BBFC 12 of age certification logo. So, yeah, since we're actually getting two films, it's a little bit of a pity that Criterion has released that in a standard scan of case and not a digipack, but well, we can't have everything, do we? Can we? Yeah, so there is this point. You can see that the spine also mentions both films in the same font as they actually appear in the on the front cover. We got the Criterion Collection label name, and here we actually have the spine number, which is 1236, which makes this film actually the latest release in the Criterion UK lineup. Alright, so taking you to the bag. The bag is actually quite simple, so it's all black, and we've got the synopsis in kind of like a very standard font, so there's nothing much to it. And yeah, so as usual, I'm going to tell you the synopsis, and later I'm going to focus on the special features, and the last but not least, I'm going to talk about the actual technical details. So, the Criterion Collection, a continuing series of important classic and contemporary films, presents I Walked with a Zombie, The Seventh Victim. Terror lives in the shadows in a pair of mesmerizingly moody horror milestones conjured from the imagination of Val Lewton, the visionary producer-auteur who turned our fears of the unseen and the unknown into haunting excursions into existential dread. as head of RKO's B-horror movie unit during the 1940s. Lewton, working with directors such as Jacques Tourneur and Mark Robson, brought a new sophistication to the genre by bringing chills not from conventional movie monsters, but brooding atmosphere, suggestion and psychosexual unease. Suffused with ritual, mysticism and the occult, the poetically hypnotic I Walked with a Zombie and the shockingly subversive The Seventh Victim are still tantalizing dreams of death that dare to embrace the darkness. There you go. So I already had the opportunity to see I Walked with a Zombie, and I can really confirm what is actually said in here. So I Walked with a Zombie, despite both of them actually being on the horror, let's say, end of the genre spectrum, they are not specifically scary. However, they do have like a very brooding atmosphere, as it actually is mentioned here. So it's a really interesting and beautifully short film. Okay, so when it comes to the 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray special edition features, we're getting a new 4K digital restorations of both films with uncompressed monaural soundtracks. We're getting one 4K Ultra HD disc of two of the films, and one Blu-ray with the films and special features. Okay, so you can already see that we are not getting any HDR grade with the films. They're both 4K Ultra HD SDR discs, so no HDR whatsoever. And both films are actually featured on one disc. So you don't have to basically switch between the discs. And yeah, and the Blu-ray is basically with both films and special features inside. Okay, so what are we getting here as well? We're getting the audio commentary on I Walked with a Zombie featuring authors Kim Newman and Stephen Jones. We're getting the audio commentary on The Seventh Victim featuring film historian Steve Haberman. We're also getting interview with film historian Imogen Sarah Smith. Okay, so Imogen, the classic Imogen, is back. We're getting audio essays from Adam Roche's podcast The Secret History of Hollywood, featuring stories about the casts, crews and productions of both films. We're also getting Shadows in the Dark, the Val Lewton Legacy from 2005, a documentary featuring Newman, Newman meaning the author Kim Newman mentioned above. Documentary featuring Newman, Val E. Lewton, son of a producer Val Lewton, filmmakers William Friedkin, Guillermo del Toro, George A. Romero, John Landis and Robert Wise. So quite a lineup of great directors who each on their own created fantastic horror films. We're also getting who else is in here? So apart from son of Val Lewton, Newman and the directors, we're also getting actor Sarah Karloff and others. I assume that Sarah Karloff is probably the some relation of the actor Boris Karloff, but I might be mistaken. It might be just a coincidence of names. Okay, what else do we get? We get excerpts from The Origins of the Zombie from Haiti to the US, an episode of the PBS series Monstrum, hosted by scholar Emily Zarka. We're also getting trailers, English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, and essays by critics Chris Fujiwara and Lucy Santa. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the special features. When it comes to the technical details, so as you can see, we're getting 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray combo edition with I Walked with a Zombie, made in 1943. It It has a runtime of 69 minutes. It's in black and white. It has monaural soundtrack and an aspect ratio of 1.37 to 1. There's also The Seventh Victim, also from 1943, has a runtime of 71 minutes. It's in black and white. It has a monaural soundtrack as well, and a 1.37 to 1 aspect ratio. So as you can see, the runtime of both films is quite short. Altogether they have a runtime of 2 hours and 30 minutes. And since we're not getting any HDR grade, they could easily fit into the one 4K disc. Yeah, there we go. So let's open it up. There we go. So we have the booklet in here and the discs in here. So let's check out the discs. As I mentioned, I've already unpacked that and I've seen the first movie, I Walked with a Zombie. Most likely today I'll be watching The Seventh Victim. Yeah. And the 4K disc is a triple layer 100GB disc. Fantastic. And the Blu-ray with both films and special features is dual layer 50GB disc. Yeah, so I can tell you right away, so if somebody is actually a little bit disappointed that we're not getting any Dolby Vision or any other sort of HDR grade, I can tell you that after watching I Walked with a Zombie that the quality of the image and the restoration is outstanding. It's one of the best looking 4K films I have seen, which is actually black and white and made in 1940s. Really, it's spectacular. Okay, so that's the booklet and the insights. So basically we're getting like a split personality here. We're getting the one color and the other, mostly affected for the films themselves. So the booklet itself is also divided into two, and in the middle it's actually reversed and mirrored. So the first is I Walked with a Zombie, of the opening of which we actually can see the cast and the credits. We're also getting the first of two essays. This one is called Better Doctors by Chris Fujiwara, and it's about, as I mentioned, I Walked with a Zombie. So it goes here for a couple of pages, then we're reaching the middle where we get the usual information about the masters, special thank yous, production credits and acknowledgements, and you can see that it's basically on the second page it's already reversed. So we can basically reverse the booklet and go back to the other side, which has the picture of The Seventh Victim by Mark Robson. And again, the booklet here starts with cast and credits of the film. This is the actress Kim Hunter, who was featured in, I believe, The A Matter of Life and Death by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. And we got the essay called The Inner Darkness by Lucy Santa, about the Seventh Victim film. And it continues, reaching the end, and again, as I mentioned, it's reversed to the beginning. Alright, so yeah, that's it when it comes to the unboxing of the newest Criterion release, in the UK at least. So we've got two films produced by Val Lewton, I Walked with a Zombie, directed by Jacques Tourneur, and The Seventh Victim, directed by Mark Robson. So this is kind of like, October lineup by Criterion. We've already received the Night of the Living Dead in 4K, and we're also getting I Walked with a Zombie and The Seventh Victim in one release on the 14th. So sadly or not, we're only getting two releases in October from Criterion. Recently they got us used to having 3 releases per month. However, to be fair to Criterion, it's usually like 3 separate films, and in October, nonetheless, although in 2 releases, we're getting 3 separate films as well. We got Night of the Living Dead, I Walked with a Zombie, and The Seventh Victim. So the math checks out. Alright, well, that's it for today's video. As I mentioned, I'll be actually making other newer videos with the unboxing for the other collector's editions that I still have here in the lineup, as well as I'm going to be doing some of the other videos that I wanted to make for a long time, and continuing some of the ones that I basically paused for a moment, like making a full collection count, as well as what else is there? Full collection count and the Warner Brothers collector's editions. Most likely I'm going to be going into the Universal collector's editions that I have, Arrow Video, and ultimately at some point I'm going to make the Criterion Collection video as well, specifically for that. I'm just waiting, I guess, on having a complete UK Criterion Collection, which I'm only 8 movies away from, so there's not much left. Alright, well, as I said, that's it for today's video. It is quite experimental, so let me know in the comments if you actually like what you saw, like what you've heard, and if there's anything that actually stands out for you, or you basically would actually like me to do. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye bye.